Bonjour, mon petit chiffre, Amber here. Long time no see. I feel like I have not been active in a long time. Truthfully, it's been like 2 months almost. What you don't know, because you never got the vlog and you have not gotten the August vlog, it's still August, but anyway, is that my external hard drive has broken. I have broken or lost yet another external hard drive. I have to stop investing in Seagate hard drives because they break very easily, and this is maybe the third one that I have had to get repaired or get the files recovered. On that external hard drive is all of July. Is that the month? Yes, all of July, which is why there has not been a July vlog. On that external hard drive is maybe like 3 or 4 years of just everything important to me. All of my photos and videos from literally everything that I've done since I've had it. And that has kind of sent me, it's set off a chain, a domino of a spiral. You know, it's sent me into a spiral because the price for some reason now to get the files recovered is absolutely insane bonkers. Absolutely unfeasible. Is that the word I'm trying to think of? So that on top of a bunch of other things, I'm not there right now. Also, I'm just like really physically going through it at the moment too, which is why we're laid up like we're on bed rest. What was I saying? Also, just everything going on, it's kind of put me into a reading slump. You have not seen my August vlog. God knows when you'll see it, because I cannot put up August without putting up July, right? But in August, I was doing another read or unhaul it. Unfortunately, the books that I chose, I think all but one are being unhauled, and the loss of the hard drive kind of like killed my desire or motivation to keep vlogging at the moment, because like I don't know when you'll ever see the videos. That, like I said, and everything else that's going on behind the scenes kind of put me in a reading slump. I have had to force myself to stop trying to read the last 2 books on my TBR, or else the slump will continue for the rest of the year. And I don't want that to happen, because I am excited about the books I have planned to read going forth. I've been talking too long in this intro. I'm just trying to tell you where we are right now and why, partially why this video is going up when it is also. So today, hello, we are in the second half. We're very firmly now in the second half of 2025, in the final 2 quarters of the year. And I wanted to sit down in the beginning of July, to talk through some of my most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. And it's almost September. It will be September in 5 days. Happy Virgo season, by the way. Happy pre-Amber week, because we are fastly approaching my birthday, even though I don't want to talk about that. I'm not celebrating my birthday this year at all. That's part of my issue. Let me stop complaining. So I have, despite the fact that it is almost September, I still haven't stopped thinking about filming this video. So since I haven't posted a video since June, here we are. Like I said, we are firmly in the second half of 2025. I was supposed to film this at the beginning of July. It's August. So some of these books have already been released, but I'm going to talk about them anyway. I mean, I don't own them yet, so that counts, right? To be fair, I haven't really bought books this year. I think the last massive book buying I did was back when I was preparing for my Hosier vlog. But since then, I've maybe bought 2 or 3 books. I'm scared. Anyway, I don't want to talk anymore. I've been talking for 6 minutes and we have not gotten into this video, but I do have my trusty dusty reading journal with my list that I made at the beginning of the year and have been adding to as I've been encountering more. Nope. Yes. Okay. I don't know what I was saying. Do have a new mic. Hopefully the sound will be a little better or different. Oh, right. I have my trusty reading journal and I have my laptop here with the books lined up, the synopses from Goodreads. So let's just jump into this because I cannot delay anymore. So I'm going to start with the few books that were released in July, and we're just gonna pretend like they have not been released yet. Like I said, I don't own them, so it still counts. So the first book is Girl in the Creek by Wendy N. Wagner. I am gonna say when I pulled these first few up, I got a little nervous because the ratings are not looking promising, and I'm hoping as soon as I finish this, I promptly forget that because sure. Okay, the first one is Girl in the Creek by Wendy N. Wagner. I'm going to put the book covers over here. So this book, I really don't remember what a lot of these are about because I put them on this list at the very beginning, at the end of December, beginning of January. So I will be reading straight from Goodreads for a lot of these. But this one, I was so intrigued by the cover because it is creepy. There are mushrooms. I have been harassed by mushrooms this year. I've had my deep, deep love of a mushy turned against me and abused against me. I have a temporary mushroom tattoo on the back of my leg right now because I am trying to figure out the placement for my eventual mushroom tattoo. But yeah, there's a girl in the creek with mushrooms growing out, and I'm very, because of said attacks, I'm really in a eco horror, kind of eco gore type situation. So anyway, this book, the Clackamas National Forest has always been a sanctuary for evil, human and alien. The shadows of looming trees and long abandoned mines shelter poachers and serial killers alike. Then there's the ruined hotel on the outskirts of picturesque small town Iridé, Oregon. Oh, right. Nestled in the foothills of Mount Hood, the one drowning in mushrooms and fungus not even the local expert can identify. Not to mention the stacks of missing persons cases. Freelance writer Aaron Harper arrives in Faraday. Did I say Iridé? Lord Jesus, it definitely says Faraday. Arrives in Faraday to find out what happened to her brother, whose disappearance in the forest has haunted her for years. But someone else has gone missing, and when Aaron finds her in the creek, the girl vanishes again, this time from the morgue, and days later her fingerprints show up at a murder scene. Maybe it's the serial killer, or maybe it's the spores infecting the forest and those lost inside. Erin must find answers quickly before anyone else goes missing, but she might be next. I love a creepy forest. I'm really into creepy forests right now. Pacific North. Oh, the Philly just hopped out. Okay. Pacific Northwest. Really my vibe. Really. But gross. I don't think I've heard anyone talk about this. I'm kind of slacking in the booktube department, watching as well as creating. But it seems like very much an Amber situation. Hopefully lives up to the hype I'm creating in my head. Oh, and that came out, when did that release? I guess it doesn't matter because it's already out. But it came out on July 15th. The next book came out on July 29th, and it's Immortal Consequences by I.V. Marie. It's the first of the Souls of Blackwood Academy series. So yeah, this is YA. I know I've mentioned it several times. I'm not reading as much YA, or I guess grabbing for new YA as I would have a year or two ago. The YA I'm reading is either by authors that I already know and adore, or like already own, you know? Any hoozle. So this is like a fantasy, dark academia, romantasy. I don't know. Romantasy is weird for me because I'm like, it's just fantasy with romance, but now like people are aiming for that. I'm like, I just want my fantasy with a nice romance in it. I don't want that to be like, you're trying really hard to make this a romance, you know? I want this is upside down. If I want romance with fantasy elements, I'll read that. If I want fantasy with a nice romance, I'll read that. Anyway, 6 students at Blackwood Academy, an enigmatic boarding school located at the edge of the afterlife. Okay, I see. I'm like, what was it that got me? That's what got me. Must compete for the once in eternity chance to change their fate, or risk remaining stuck in purgatory forever. An unputdownable debut full of hairpin twists, shock, betrayals, and world-defying love for fans of the Atlas 6. I really did enjoy the Atlas 6. I need to read the like re-released, traditionally published version. I read these the OG Atlas 6. Welcome to Blackwood Academy, the legendary school located at the fringes of the afterlife, where students are fated to spend the rest of eternity shepherding lost souls. Once a pupil enters the school's arched gates, there's no way out, except for the decennial, a once-in-a-decade celebration that rewards nominees who pass its trials with a choice: formally graduate and join Blackwood's magical elite, or venture into the unknown, and cross over to the mysterious other side. When Ren Loudy is certain that this decennial she has what it takes to earn the nomination, unless that is her academic arch rival Augustine Hughes steals her spot. Irene Manet Bamford, these names, has never cared about playing by the rules. She's willing to break whatever and whoever stands between her and getting the hell out of Blackwood, including her best and only friend, Massacre Sallow. Olivier Dupont gave up on securing the nomination ages ago, but after he meets Blackwood's newest student, Emilio Cordova, he'll do anything to keep Emilio from leaving him and crossing over to the other side, even if it means claiming the victory for himself. So everyone's like in pairs that they're kind of like obsessed with. All of them are determined to be Blackwood's chosen candidate, and all of them would do anything to win, but none of them are prepared for what's to come, because this decennial will be different. This time, the decennial isn't a celebration, it's a competition. And there can only be one victor, so it's low-key dark academia Hunger Games. 6 nominees, 4 trials, untold danger. Ren, August, Irene, Masika, Olivier, and Emilio are about to learn there are some fates worse than death. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6, like the Atlas 6. And like I said, that came out July 29th. I'm still intrigued. I'm still interested by it. I was curious to see if, like, reading like books that have already come out or books that I put on this list ages ago, if I still am interested in them, and I think so. All right, the next July release that came out on the 1st was Tenderly I Am Devoured by Lyndall Clipstone. Perfect for this little blurb right here is what got me. Perfect for fans of Perfect for fans of Saltburn, For the Wolf, and House of Hollow. Tenderly I'm Devoured is a moody, monstrously gothic romantasy. Here we go. In which a young woman must bind herself to a dangerous, what does that say? Chthonic demon with the help of the son of a rival family to save her family's legacy and herself from ruin. Is there more to that? Oh, this is another boarding school situation. Expelled from her prestigious boarding school following a violent incident, 18-year-old Lacrimosa, anywho, Lacrimosa Ariskane, returns home in disgrace to discover her family on the point of financial ruin. Desperate to save them, she accepts a marriage of convenience to Therion, the god worshipped by Lark's isolated coastal hometown. But when her betrothal goes horribly wrong, Lark begins to vanish from the mortal realm. Her only hope is to seek help from Alistair Philomath, the brilliant, arrogant boy who was her first heartbreak, and his alluring older sister Camille. As the trio delve into the folklore of gods, Lark falls under the spell of the Fellman siblings. Philomath? I don't know what that means, because you can't be in love with both of them. I'm assuming that's not what's going to happen. Ensnared by a fervent romance, they perform a bacchanal. I can never pronounce this right. Bacchanalia, with hopes the hedonistic ritual will repair the connection between Lark and her bridegroom. Instead, they draw the ire of something much darker, which seeks to destroy Therion and Lark as well. So this is a gothic fantasy, horror, romantasy. According to Goodreads, it's also queer, so that's fun. Yeah, is this super high still on my list? We'll get to it eventually. The cover's nice. Released, this one came out in June? Oh, then I can skip this. This came out in June. So, released the last July, that was released on the 22nd, is a horror, a horror thriller mystery type dealie. It was Her House First by Cherie Priest. Ronnie doesn't know it yet, but her fate rests in the hands of the dead. Silent film star Vanita Rost's malevolent spirit lurks spider-like in her cliffside mansion, a once beautiful home that's claimed countless unlucky souls. And she's not alone. Snared in her terrible web, Inspector Bartholomew Sloane, her eternal nemesis, watches her wreak havoc in helpless horror, shackled by his own guilt and Vanita's unrelenting wrath. Now the house has yet another new owner. This time it's Ronnie Mitchell, a grieving woman who buys the rundown place, sight unseen girl. She arrives armed with an unexpected inheritance, a strong background in renovation, and a blissful ignorance regarding the house's blood-soaked history. But her arrival has stirred up more than just dust and decay. In the shadows, unseen eyes watch. Then a man comes knocking. Why would there be a man there? He brings wild stories and a thinly veiled jealousy, as well as a secret connection to the house that only can lead to violence. Well, Vanita's fury awakens and a deadly game unfolds. Caught between a vengeful ghost and a ruthless living threat, Ronnie's skepticism crumbles. The line between living and dead isn't as sharp as it seems, and she realizes too late that in Vanita's house, survival might be just an illusion. We love a haunted house. Once again, haven't really heard anybody talking about this, but catch me spooky season. Actually don't, because I have a themed TBR for spooky season and this does not fit in the TBR at all. But catch me sometime after that. BRB, I have to set up. I wanted to do this in segments so I didn't overwhelm myself and my laptop. I didn't want it wheezing while we were filming. So I'm going to be right back with August releases. My laptop's hissing. Hopefully, if I have the mic up here, you cannot hear my laptop hissing, or if you can, it's just a teeny tiny bit. But let's talk about August releases. I just want to get this one out of the way. I want to get this out of the way because this one's more like a hee hee ha ha, we're not taking this seriously. On August 5th, that really weird Hosier fanfic came out. If Not For My Baby by Kate Golden, which it doesn't even pretend to not be about Andrew Hosier Byrne. And I'm not gonna lie, I want it. I want it simply because I want to hate read it. I want to hate read it. Hopefully I'm wrong and like I read it and it's actually really good. But everything I've heard about it, against my will by the way, gives me the ick. Like I have been a fanfic girly, and I know people are weird about writing fanfic about real people. I'm really not always. I'm not always, especially if it's kept in a fan fiction format. We know we're in like the space for that, you know? Now, don't get me wrong. Also, ellipses, if you will, ellipses. Anywho, I have one daughter. I also am not a stranger to writing characters that are based on inspired by real people. The love interest of the romance story that I am writing is heavily inspired by someone I've known in my life, because the story is inspired by a specific time in my life and kind of like a fictionalized version of the aftermath of that. I've also written, unpublished once again, but just for me, a story where the main character was like heavily influenced by Maddie Healy. Keep your comments to yourself, not the place. But I also like to say that it's not blatantly obvious that it's just copy and paste Andrew Hosier Byrne. I'm sorry, Halloran, is that his? Let me just tell you what this book's about. In the duet of a lifetime, when a rock star in his back I feel like I've written this exact fan fiction about me and Joe Jonas when I was 17, 18. Once again, unpublished, but you can probably find it on Flickr or, no, not on Wattpad. This was pre-Wattpad. Anywho, actually, I did a video years ago where I read through all my old Jonas fan fiction. I'll link it below just for the gigs. In the duet of a lifetime, when a rock star and his backup singer find a new kind of harmony off stage in this sensational contemporary romance, Clementine Clark isn't looking for love. Growing up with a single mom who weeps over a new guy each week, dag, you don't have to do her like that, tends to have that effect on a girl. But Clementine doesn't mind being the rational one. She's even buried her musical dreams so deeply within herself that she hardly notices the hole it's left in her life. That is until her best friend calls her with a life-changing opportunity to join Irish megastar Hosier. Halloran Hosier. She didn't even change the Halloran on his first U.S. tour as a backing vocalist. Clementine wants to reject the offer, but the pay is enough to change her and her mom's life. Overnight, Clementine goes from serving enchiladas at the Happy Tortilla to belting high notes before a cheering crowd. But the whiplash of trading small-town Texas for sold-out stadiums is nothing compared to the rush of performing with the enigmatic Andrew Hosier Byrne. He even has 3 names. Thomas Patrick Halloran. I'm going to do something drastic and violent. Poet, introvert, and lyrical genius. Hosier quickly gets under Clementine's skin. The two couldn't see the world more differently, and yet over the course of the next 8 weeks on tour, the romantic rock star might just strike an unforgettable chord in Clementine, but will it be enough for an encore? Here are my couple of issues. 1, wow. 2, that's literally Hosier on the cover of this book. Like, if the art was not blatantly hosier, and if like the art in the promo that the author that I've seen has been posting on social media isn't literally hosier, I think literally his photo has been used. If the title of this book wasn't a play on a literal hosier lyric. And also, I think what irks me is because, what I say, I'm not fully opposed to like a character that's inspired by a real person. However, we're talking about one of the most like private to themselves celebrity. That man only confirmed that he had a girlfriend because people were harassing. And I know the context of the issues with, what's her name, Hannah. I know about the like the cultural appropriation and like the anti-indigenous sentiments, and I agree to an extent. I do not agree with the way she was being harassed by some people, considering actually, I don't agree with the way Andrew was being harassed by people, considering this happened before they met, before they were together. We don't know if there's been growth. We don't know if there's been education, and people don't allow for that in fandom spaces, in internet spaces. Coming for him, trying to cancel this man for something someone did when he was not with them, and what are we expecting him to? This is not about hosier. If you want to hear me talk about hosier, I have a whole vlog dedicated to reading books and like with hosier vibes. I'm gonna move on. This book is ridiculous. I know it's ridiculous, but it's out in the world, and there is a deep part of me that wants to read it, just to know. I did look it up. I don't know how. I don't think it's in libraries, so if I want to read it, I am going to have to purchase it. But we will tackle that when we come to it. Anyway, back to serious book releases. On August 19th, so like a week or so ago, The Possession of Alba Diaz by Isabel Cañas was released, who is the author of The Hacienda, which I own but have not read yet. Hopefully I will be doing so soon, especially if I intend to buy this book. I want to read that first. It says, when a demonic presence awakens deep in a Mexican silver mine, the young woman it seizes must turn to one man she shouldn't trust. In 1765, so this is a historical fiction type of gothic horror type situation. In 1765, plague sweeps through, what does that say? Zacatecas? Alba flees with her wealthy merchant parents and fiancé Carlos to his family's isolated mine for refuge. But safety proves fleeting as other dangers soon bare their teeth. Alba begins suffering from strange hallucinations, sleepwalking, and violent convulsions. She senses something cold lurking beneath her skin. Something angry, something wrong. I just rewatched Nosferatu, and I don't know why, reading the hallucinations, sleepwalking, violent convulsions, I just see Lily Rose Depp. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Elias, haunted by a troubled past, came to the New World to make his fortune and escape his family's legacy of greed. Alba, as his cousin's betrothed, is none of his business, which is of course why he can't help but notice her every time she enters a room, or the growing tension between them. And why he notices her deteriorate when the demon's thirst for blood grows stronger. Is that it? Okay. Alright. I'm into it. Yesterday, August 26th, we got Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. I'm still working through the Poppy War, so who knows when I'll get around to this book, but it sounds like it's going to be so good. It's like dark academia that I think takes place in hell or something like that. Two graduate students must set aside their rivalry and journey to hell to save their professor's soul, perhaps at the cost of their own. So this kind of feels like it's going to have like Dante's Inferno vibes. Mind you, I read like 2 pages of Inferno. Shut up, okay? But I know the vibes, okay? I listen to Unreal on Earth. Alice Law has only ever had one goal: to become one of the brightest minds in the field of magic. She has sacrificed everything to make that a reality. Her pride, her health, her love life, and most definitely her sanity. All to work with Professor Jacob Grimes at Cambridge, the greatest magician in the world. That is, until he dies in a magical accident that could possibly be her fault. Grimes is now in hell. All right. And she's going in after him because his recommendation could hold her very future in his now incorporeal hands, and even death is not going to stop the pursuit of her dreams, nor will the fact that her rival, Peter Murdoch, has come to the same conclusion. Are y'all okay? I mean, in dark academia, is anyone ever okay? No. The answer is always no. But this sounds so intriguing, so up my alley. I can't wait to get to it after I finish the Poppy War and then read Babel. And then I feel like I'm missing one. Yellowface, is that R.F. Kuang too? I'm get there. I'm gonna get there, I swear. So the next book I recently became aware of, and I think this is a re-release, perhaps with like a new publisher or something. I think it was originally released in India, I believe. I could be making that up. Mad Sisters of AC by Tashan Mehta, Myung and Layla are keepers of the Whale of Babel. I love whales. Sorry, Beyonce. I love whales, though. They roam within the cosmic chambers, speak folk tales of themselves, and pray to the enigmatic figure they know only as Great Wisa. To Layla, this is everything. For Myung, it's not enough. When Myung flees the whale, she stumbles into a new universe where shape-shifting islands and ancient maps hold sway. There she sets off on an adventure that is both tragic and transformative. For her and Layla, for the heart of her... both tragic and transformative for her and Layla. For at the heart of her quest lies a mystery that has confounded scholars for the truth about the Mad Sisters of AC. Fables, dreams, and myths come together in this masterful work of fantasy by acclaimed author Tashan Mehta, sweeping across 3 landscapes and featuring a museum of collective memory, that sounds so cool, and a festival of madness also. At its core, it asks, in the devastating chaos of this world, where all is in flux... Why am I reading like I'm hooked on phonics? At its core, it asks, in the devastating chaos of the world where all is in flux and the truth ever changing, what will you choose to hold on to? So this sounds like it says fables and like folklore, and like it feels like it's going to be really whimsical. And I also, whales, love whales. I love anything to do with a whale. Oh, this... I don't know when it's re-releasing because it just shows the original release date. I think, according to my notes, it says the 5th. It came out on the 5th. Okay, so next on the 5th, also, The Faceless Thing We Adore by Hester Steele was released. This sounds kind of wild. In a tale as old as time, break up with your crappy boyfriend, travel to a foreign country to find yourself, end up in a sex-fueled commune, worshipping an angry god. I always pronounce this one wrong. This is pronunciation. Aoife? Aoife. I always pronounce this one wrong. When Aoife stumbles across the farmstead, she finds everything she's been missing. A community that loves her, sexual freedom, a greater purpose. She could actually be happy here. If it weren't for the teenager they keep locked up in a cabin with no windows, or the mysterious rot spreading through the farmland, or that some of her new friends talk about their leader, Jonah, with more fear than love. Culty. When the god wakes up and it all goes wrong. It's only Aoife who has the power to choose what will become of their tiny reality. Awkward, clumsy Aoife, who was always told she was weak, and is just now realizing the depths of her strength and the pleasures of her rage. I know that's right, because rage is a quiet thing. Yeah, that sounds wild, and I'm into it. Like I said, that came out on the 5th. This one is also a re-release it's coming out on the 26th. It was originally released in Japan, I believe. Yeah, this is a translated book. Lost Souls Meet Under a Full Moon by Mizuki Sugimura, and it's translated by Yuki Tajima. First of all, this cover is beautiful. I discovered the last 3 all on the same day. A suspenseful magical realism novel about a mysterious teenage go-between who arranges meetings between the living and the dead. I bring together the living and the departed. I am the go-between. When a young woman from Tokyo contacts the go-between to request a meeting with a deceased TV star who once helped her, she doesn't expect a teenage boy to show up. Dressed in a designer duffel coat and carrying a tattered notebook, Ayumi Shibuya, our mysterious intermediary, offers an extraordinary... Okay. He reunites the living with their dearly departed. Meeting his clients at a luxury hotel, Ayumi lays down the ground. Each reunion is a one-time arrangement that the dead can refuse. The service is entirely free, and the meeting must take place during a full moon. As Ayumi arranges these reunions, we encounter a resentful eldest son who wants to ask his mother to unearth the deeds to a plot of land. A teenage girl who blames herself for her best friend's death, and a weary businessman seeking answers about his fiance's disappearance days after he proposed. With each rendezvous, clues begin to surface, leading readers to unravel the mystery of the boy in the duffel coat, whose own story is eventually revealed. A runaway multi-million... Okay. Okay. One of my goals for the year, I keep saying, was to read more translated works. I have not read a single one this year. So this might be the first one. Who knows? September. My birth month. Beyonce's birth month. Zendaya's birth month. You're welcome, world. Let's talk about some Virgo books really fast. I'm sure are they all Virgo books? They are all Virgo books. Let's talk about some Virgito. I don't think that's a word. First and foremost, we have one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and it's A Steeping of Blood by Hafsa Faizal, which is the sequel to A Tempest of Tea. If you have not read A Tempest of Tea, vampires, heists, anti-colonialism. If you are a fan of the Sands of Aralia duology, We Hunt the Flame, We Free the Stars, it's set in the same world. Love. This is the sequel and the conclusion of the duology, and it comes out on... No, this is a Libra book. Oh, this is sad. This comes out on September 23rd. Hafsa, you could have made it a Virgo book. Why would you do that? Just by a day. You missed it by a day. Anyway, I'm very excited to see how this story wraps up, this conclusion. We all know I love Hafsa, and will gobble up anything she hands me. So next we have Hot Wax by ML Rio, who is the author of If We Were Villains. Yes, which I really enjoyed when I did my first Dark Academia reading vlog. This one, I have not read Graveyard Shift yet, which I believe is a novella, and I've heard mixed things about it, but I do still plan to get around to it. This book comes out on September 9th, a Virgo book. It says, a vivid and immersive tale of one woman's reckless mission to make sense of the events that shattered her childhood and made her who she is. Relatable content. Summer 1989, 10-year-old Suzanne is drawn like a magnet to her father's forbidden world of electric guitars and tricked out cars. When her mother remarries, she jumps at the chance to tag along on the concert tour that just might be Gil and the Kills' wild ride to glory. But fame has sharper fangs than anybody realized. As the band blazes up the charts, internal power struggles set Gil and his group on a collision course destined for a bloody reckoning, one shrouded in mystery and lore for decades to come. The only witness to a desperate act of violence, Suzanne spends the next 29 years trying to disappear. Has it been 29? No, it hasn't. She trades the music and mayhem of her youth for the quiet of the suburbs and the company of her mild-mannered husband, Rob. But when her father's sudden death resurrects the troubled past she tried so hard to bury, she leaves it all behind and hits the road in search of answers, hitching her fate and Gil's beloved car to two vagabonds who call an old Airstream trailer home. She finds everything she thought she'd lost forever: desire, adventure, and the woman she once yearned to be. But Rob refuses to let her go. Determined to bring her back where she belongs. Hello. It's possibly about 5 hours later. I had to charge my battery and then I ran up to the store. I have no idea what I was talking about. Where were we? We are indeed going to just pick up I was talking about Hot Wax by ML Rio. I'm not going to reread all of this. I am just going to reread the last paragraph or so. But Rob refuses to let her go. Determined to bring her back where she belongs, he chases her across the country, 911 please, and drives her to a desperation all her own. Drenched in knockdown, drag-out rock and roll, Hot Wax is a raucous, breakneck ride to hell and back, where getting lost might be the only way to find yourself and save your soul. I'm going to be real with you. I'm pretty sure I just put this on my anticipated reads list because it's ML Rio and I really, really loved If We Were Villains. I don't know if I feel as strongly about this book as I did when I put it in the book. Truthfully, don't even remember reading the synopsis, so I probably just saw that ML Rio had a book coming out and put it on this list. Okay. Like I said, that's coming out on the 9th of September. Then we have, I believe, this book is kind of new to me, and truthfully, I haven't read the synopsis yet. I saw it on Bookstagram. Really liked the cover, screenshotted it to remember to look it up, and when I was pulling up the titles just now, it popped up, so I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to include this because I see that it's coming out in September. It's coming out on September 23rd, a Libra book, and it's The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovalino. It says, love, loyalty, sacrifice. Gray Flynn has dedicated her life to her mage, Kier. Oh yes, I did actually read the synopsis of this. And yeah. She will be his blade on the battlefield. A woman knight. Give it to me. She will be his blade on the battlefield, his healer and protector. The deep well of raw power inside her is Kier's to use. Gray would do anything for Kier, be anything for him, if he would only ask. When a quest to protect the child of an enemy kingdom pulls them into the dangerous heart of their nation's war, Gray and Kier will need to decide what they are willing to sacrifice to protect their secret. For Gray is no ordinary magical well, but heir to the lost island of Locke, the root of all power. If she dies, all magic dies with her. The Second Death of Locke is a devastatingly romantic epic fantasy and about the undying bond between a knight and their mage, perfect for fans of Gideon the Ninth, which is on my TBR for the year, and the Six Deaths of the Saint. What is that? Do I need to look into that? Let me make a note to look into that. But yeah, a female knight, a mage, fantasy, romance. Yeah, absolutely. Also, this cover is beautiful. I'm already obsessed with it. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to tell Claire to pre-order this because I know she's going to be into this too. Okay. Speaking of, is this the one? No, this isn't. No, it's not. Okay. So next we have The Maiden and Her Monster by Maddie Martinez, which comes out on the 9th of September as well. What do I remember about this book? I just really remember that I believe it's a sapphic fantasy, a gorgeous atmospheric debut fantasy that reimagines the Jewish myth of the golem. Right. In a tale rooted in history, folklore, and sapphic romance. Perfect for fans of Katherine Arden, Ava Reed, Hannah Witten, and Naomi Novik. I have read 2 of those authors, and 2 of them are still to be read. I have put Katherine Arden and Naomi Novik on every single TBR for, God, it feels like a decade. I don't know. The forest eats the girls who wander out after dark. It's giving The Wolf and the Woodsman. No. What is the Hannah Witten one? Anyway, as the healer's daughter, Malka has seen how the curse of the woods has plagued her village. But when Osmini Church comes to collect their tithes, they don't listen to the warnings about a monster lurking in the trees. After a clergy girl wanders too close to the forest and Malka's mother is accused of her murder, Malka strikes a bargain with a zealot Osmini priest. If she brings him the monster, he will spare her mother from execution. When she ventures into the blood-soaked woods, Malka finds a monster, though not the one she expects. An inscrutable, disgraced golem who agrees to implicate herself, but only after Malka helps her free the imprisoned rabbi who created her. But a deal easily made is not easily kept, and their bargain begins to unravel a much more sinister threat. Protecting her people may force Malka to endanger the one person she left home to save, and face her growing feelings for the very creature she was taught to fear. And honestly, this kind of also is giving Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reed, which I did really like. And I'm so interested to see how it reimagines the myth of the golem, which I believe is like a creature made from clay and becomes sentient. Is it? Let me see. A golem is an animated anthropomorphic being in Jewish folklore, which is created entirely from inanimate matter, usually clay or mud. I think it's supposed to, it's like a protector of the Jewish community, animated through mystical rituals. So, that sounds really exciting and really cool. So, next we have another horror. There are so many horrors in here. I do realize that. And this one also comes out on September 9th. There are so many books coming out on September 9th. That'll be great because I'm going to have birthday money. Maybe. I don't know. I'm poor. Anyway, this is The Burial Tide by Neil Sharpson. This cover is a cover drawing on the creatures and horrors of Irish folklore. The Burial Tide unearths unreal unearth. Sorry, I'll see myself out. Unearths our darkest truths, how far we go to win our freedom, and how quickly our desires can become monstrous. A woman who can't remember her death. On an eerily quiet island off the coast of Ireland, a woman with no memory claws her way out of her grave and back to life. It really is giving Hosier. Not to bring him back up, but it's giving like road people do. Why were you digging? What did you bury? When those hands pulled me from the earth. Where was I? She claws her way from the grave and back to life. But not everyone welcomes the return of Mara Fetch. An island with a terrible secret. Inishbenek, where strange misshapen figures watch from the trees and the roads are covered in teeth. Alright. Where two brothers gamble for nothing. The doctor only treats the dead and the pub owner speaks in riddles. Where a poet loses and finds his soul. And a husband without a wife claims to know everything about Mara. A past that refuses to stay buried. As Mara returns to her life on the upside-down island, her memories begin to leach their way back to the surface. The more she remembers, the more the village would do anything to stop her. But the sea remembers it all. Is that how she ended up buried and dead? I'm intrigued. This I can't wait to get my hands on. Just rereading this, I cannot wait to get my hands on this. It's checking so many of my boxes here. That's pretty high on the anticipated list. Also, September 9th, we have The Macabre by Xoxo Jackson. I have not read a Xoxo Jackson book yet, I don't think. But this one really, really piqued my interest. This is his adult fantasy debut. It says a standalone novel blending of art history, time, and globe-hopping adventure in dark horror and fantasy about 10 cursed paintings and the lengths people will go to collect them, destroy them, or be destroyed. A struggling painter, Lewis Dixon, is shocked when the British Museum shows an unusual interest in his art. While he's always felt there's something powerful about what he puts on canvas, he also felt there was something disturbing just under the surface, especially as he was compelled to make a painting of a painting, one that he has a connection. What? The object of his art is one of the 10 paintings his great-grandfather created over 100 years ago. Only Lewis's version is surreal and maybe just a touch horrific. Still, he accepts the invitation, only to find not a curated show, but to see if he not only has the magic necessary to enter the paintings, but also the strength to escape them. We're hopping through paintings. This reminds me of some book that I was obsessed with when I was like 12. And it was a time travel book though. And they were like hopping back and forth to like not ancient Egypt, but like 1930s, 1920s Egypt. And the girl was like missing or something. And I have to find that book. Something Cooney, Caroline Cooney, is that the author? I'm gonna look that up after I'm finished with this, because unbeknownst to Lewis, there is power in his art, just as the 10 paintings carry with them both immense, okay, blah 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 blah. Anyway, so we're hopping. He has to go into his art, but also have the power to come out of the art. He's been tasked to destroy the 10 paintings because they carry this ability and a curse. Sure, cool, absolutely. I think the concept of like art and like art history specifically used in horror is so interesting. The last book that I'm anticipating for September, once again, September 9th, and another horror. And this one is You Weren't Meant to Be Human by Andrew Joseph White, who is the author of that queer YA series. I don't remember what it's called, but I want to read those books so bad. Hell Followed with Us is the first one, and that was a possibility for my Hosier TBR. It would have fallen under the Take Me to Church category, I believe. And it's like apocalyptic and like culty, and I think the main character is trans, I believe. But this is the same author. Anyway, Alien meets Midsummer. I'm saying Midsummer and Midsommar at the same time. Anywho, in this chilling debut adult novel about identity, survival, and transformation amidst an alien invasion in rural West Virginia. Crazy. Festering masses of worms and flies have taken root in dark corners across Appalachia. In exchange for unwavering loyalty and fresh corpses, these hives offer a few struggling humans salvation. A fresh start is an offer that none refuse. Crane is grateful. Among his hive's followers, Crane has found a chance to transition, to never speak again, to live a life that won't destroy him. He even met Levi, a handsome ex-Marine and brutal killer who treats him like a real man, mostly. But when Levi gets Crane pregnant, whoa. And the hive demands the child's birth, whoa. No matter the cost, Crane's desperation to make it stop will drive the community that saved him into a devastating spiral that can only end in blood. Wow, You Weren't Meant to Be Human is a deeply personal horror, a visceral statement about the lives of marginalized people in a hostile world, echoing the works of Stephen Graham Jones and Eric LaRocca. LaRocca? Whoa. So, next we have October. I think I can probably do October and November together. Please let me gather. BRB. Okay, I lied. I will instead be putting November and December together because I have more books than I realized for October. The first of which is by an author I've had a hit and miss relationship with, and it's Savage Blooms by S.T. Gibson. This book comes out on October 9th. I have read 2 S.T. Gibson books. One I've absolutely adored, one I've absolutely abhorred. Abhorred is strong. One I've loved, one, get it away from me. I was very disappointed. Absolutely adore Dowry of Blood. So good. So obsessed. It really kind of like kicked me into my vampire era for real. And then this year in January, when I did my second Dark Academia vlog, I read An Education in Malice. Anywho, Savage Blooms comes out in October. I don't remember what this is about, but every time S.T. Gibson has a book release, I put it on my TBR, regardless of the fact that now I am nervous reading any of her books. The premise always gets me, but then either I hear mixed things about it or I do read it and it hurts my feelings. But Adam has been in love with his best friend Nicola since college, but the closest he can come to admitting his feelings is inviting her to travel with him to Scotland in search of a legendary cave from his grandfather's bedtime stories. When a storm washes out the road, Adam and Nicola find themselves at the mercy of Eileen, an eccentric aristocrat, and Finley, her brooding groundskeeper. The Americans quickly get more than they bargained for as they become entangled in Eileen and Finley's world of mind games, kink, and ancient enchantment. And before I read that sentence, I was going to be like, are they going to become like a poly? What is it when it's 4? Is that a polycule? But honestly, if I were Nicola, I'd fall in love with you. What is this man's name? Adam, if you whisked me away to Scotland. Yes, I am that desperate to go to Scotland. Yeah, it sounds, yeah. From what I read of S.T. Gibson, there's going to be a little obsession sprinkled in there. That's really Saint's bag. That's really Saint's bag. So I'm into it. I'm curious to see. I'm just curious, you know? I'm a little curious. That was all the way off key. I'm so sorry, Demi. Next, staying with our sapphic girlies, we have The Isle in the Silver Sea by Tasha Suri, who is the author of The Jasmine Throne, which I have read. I have not continued with the series. I'm a little intimidated because The Jasmine Throne was a hefty girl. That was a hefty girl, and I vaguely remember where I was like mind-wise when I read that book. And one, I know to continue that series, I'm going to have to do a reread. Thank God for audiobooks. But I hope this one's not as hefty as that was. But this one, it says it's a heart-shattering romantasy. Everything is romantasy these days, guys. Please. Of sapphic longing, medieval folklore, and a love that spans the centuries. Ooh. In Britain, fueled by stories, the knight and the witch are fated. The knight and the witch are fated to fall in love and doom each other over and over. The same tale retold over hundreds of lifetimes. Cimmerin is a witch of the woods. Vina is a knight of the queen's court. When the two women begin to fall for each other, how can they surrender to their desires, when to give in is to destroy each other? I think I'm crooked. As they seek a way to break the cycle, a mysterious assassin begins targeting tales like theirs. To survive, the two will need to write a story stronger than the one that fate has given to them. But what tale is stronger than the knight and the witch? The concept, the idea, the premise of like a cyclical, not necessarily like reincarnation, but maybe, who knows, I don't know, but like they have to, I'll tell them, put me back at it. It's also giving Orpheus and Eurydice. Well, it's giving Hadestown specifically. It's giving Hadestown. Basically because, like, you know, the tale, I don't want to spoil Hadestown, but I'm going to spoil Hadestown, so skip ahead if you don't want to. It's Orpheus and Eurydice, but at the musical ends literally restarting the story and telling the story over and over and over again, and Orpheus and Eurydice living this over and over and over again. Anywho, so yeah, give it to me. Also, this cover, eat it up. Oh my goodness. Another cover. Ooh, back to our regularly scheduled horror program is Futility by Nuzo Ono. And I really do think that the cover got me. It says murder, revenge, soup. I'm really into two of those things. Could be persuaded for the third. Anyway, it's a monstrous, gleeful, bitingly funny tale of murder, body swapping, and bloody vengeance from the recipient of the Bram Stoker Award for Lifetime Achievement and Queen of African Horror. I think I forgot that this was an African author. Oh, we love to see it. Okay. And this is a story in horror, a horror book that's set on the continent. Give it to me. Chia runs one of the best restaurants in Abuja, Nigeria, and is renowned among the male clientele for her captivating beauty. She's every man's dream woman and delicious hot pepper soup. But her hot pepper soup has a secret ingredient, and her beauty is not what it seems. Claire is a 50-year-old British woman living in Abuja with her young Nigerian boyfriend, okay girl, and his beautiful cousin Sade. Consumed by jealousy and resentment, and blinded, I thought I said bilingual, and blinded to the poisonous tendencies of her beloved son after a night out at Chia's infamous restaurant, Claire's carefully organized life spirals into chaos. Both women seethe with rage and bitterness, and when a trickster spirit offers them revenge on those who have wronged them, they cannot resist. Crackling with wit, this is a blood-soaked, expletive-laden, vengeance-filled horror story. Sign me all the way up. Sign me up on every page. Satirical, twisty, and murderous, this is a bloody, deadly fun from a writer at the top of her game. This comes out October 14th. The book before this, I believe, comes out on the 29th of October. I could be wrong. Oh, October 21st. Oh, that's Dwayne's birthday. And Ashley's birthday. Next, another gothic horror we've got here. And this one is The Graceview Patient by Caitlin Starling. I know the author's name. I can't remember why I know the author's name. But this one, it says Misery, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Really enjoyed the book as well. The book was even worse than the movie. So far, the only Stephen King that I've enjoyed. I've read 1.5. So that's not really. I do love most Stephen King movies though. Misery meets Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Also, quality. In the genre-bending, claustrophobic hospital gothic from the best-selling author of The Death of Jane Lawrence. That's right. I have not read that, but I've been meaning to for a while. Margaret lives with a rare autoimmune condition that has destroyed her life, leaving her isolated. It has no cure, but she's making do as best she can, until she's offered a fully paid-for spot in an experimental medical trial at Graceview Memorial. The conditions are simple if grueling. She will live at the hospital as a full-time patient, subjecting herself to the near-total destruction of her immune system and its subsequent regeneration. The trial will eventually kill most of, but not all of her. Jesus. But as the treatment progresses and her body begins to fail, she stumbles upon something sinister, living and spreading within the hospital. Unsure of what's real and what is just medication-induced delusion, Margaret struggles to find a way out as her body and mind succumb further to the darkness lurking throughout Graceview's halls. You really did have me at Misery. That comes out, I don't know if I said that, the 14th of October. This next book I'm so stoked for, honestly. And it's Psychopomp and Circumstance by Eden Royce. It's a Southern Gothic historical fantasy story of a contentious funeral director, I think. Fee St. Margaret is a daughter of the Reconstruction, born to a family of free black business owners in New Charleston, coddled to within an inch of her life by a mother who refuses to let her daughter live a life other than the one she dictates. Fee yearns to demonstrate she's capable of more than simply marrying well. When word arrives that her Aunt Cleo, long estranged from the family, has passed away, Fee risks her mother's wrath to step up and accept the role of Pomp, the highly honored duty of planning the funeral service. Traveling alone to the town of Horizon in her aunt's unsettling home, Fee soon discovers that visions and shadows beckon from every reflective surface, and that some secrets transcend the borders of life and death. Absolutely. Oh, it's a novella? Okay. Sure. And that one comes out on the 21st as well. We have a romantasy, most likely. I'm probably going to read this and it's going to say it's a romantasy. But it's Kill the Beast. This cover is giving Narnia. It is giving Narnia. It's giving... What is that movie? The Watcher in the Woods? I don't know why this reminds me of like the poster from that movie. It's also giving that movie that has a white lion in it. I can't remember what it is. The Witcher meets Howl's Moving Castle in this debut original fairy tale. It's an original fairy tale, y'all. Oh, we need more of those these days. Debut original fairy tale of revenge, redemption, and friendship for fans of T. Kingfisher, Naomi Novik, and cozy fantasy with a dash of gritty adventure. And honestly, I'm not opposed to it because the cozy fantasy with a dash of gritty adventure reminds me of Green Teeth, which I read back in March, and I really did enjoy that. That was a really good time. The night Lyssa Cadogan's brother was murdered by a fairy-made monster known as the Beast, she made him a promise. She would find a way to destroy the immortal creature and avenge his death. For 13 years, she has been hunting fairies and the abominations they created. But in all that time, the one beast she is most desperate to find has never resurfaced. Also given a little bit of Godkiller. Until she meets Aldrich Casimir. Oh, this is a full name. Hold on. Aldrich Casimir de Laurent. A melodramatic dandy with a coin purse bigger than his brain. Somehow, he has found the monster's lair and, even more surprising, retrieved one of its claws. Is he the monster? A claw Lissa needs in order to forge a sword that can kill the beast. When the witch, Ragnhild, decrees that Aldrich and Lissa must gather the other ingredients to forge the weapons together, or else the spell will fail. Lissa gets more than she bargained for. Aldrich is ill-equipped for the task at hand and almost guaranteed to get himself killed. But as the two of them search for the materials that will be the beast's undoing, Aldrich reveals hidden depths, dark secrets that he guards as carefully as Lissa guards hers. Before long, and against Lissa's better judgment, they begin to forge a blooming friendship, one that will either lead to the culmination of Lissa's quest for vengeance or spell doom for them both. Cute. Also giving me a dash of the Polar Bear King, which I've mentioned before I love, and I don't think anyone else knows exists, at least no one in the US. And I am working, one of my projects is inspired by that fairy tale and the movie specifically. But yeah, this sounds really cute and fun and interesting. I don't know why I said it like that. And it comes out on October 14th. Is another October 14th? No, this is an October 21st. This one, we have another sapphic fantasy. And this one is When They Burned the Butterfly by Wen Yi Li. A fierce, glamorous sapphic fantasy. I love this cover. Also, it kind of has a reminiscent, I guess, of Girls of Paper and Fire, which kind of fits with the title. A fierce, glamorous sapphic fantasy reimagining the secret societies of post-colonial Singapore for fans of Jade City, which I am, Sylvia Moreno Garcia, and the feverish intensity of R.F. Kuang's Poppy War trilogy. Yes. Singapore, 1972, newly independent, a city of immigrants grappling for power in a fast, modernizing world. Here, gangsters are the last conduits of the gods. That's cool. And, of the gods their ancestors brought with them, and the back alleys where they fight are the last place where magic has not been assimilated and legislated away. Definitely Jade City. Loner schoolgirl Adeline Slow. No, that's not an L. Xiao? Could be an L. Has never needed more company than the flames she can summon at her fingertips. But when her mother dies in a house fire with a butterfly seared onto her skin, and Adeline hunts down a girl she saw in a back alley bar fight, a girl with a butterfly tattoo, she discovers she's far from alone. Ang Tian is a red butterfly, one of a gang of girls who came from nothing, sworn to a fire goddess, and empowered to wreak vengeance on the men that abuse and underestimate them, also giving wild beauty. No, that's not what that's called. The Wild Ones. That's what that one is. The Wild Ones by Nafisa Azad. Adeline's mother led a double life as their elusive patron, Madame Butterfly. Now that she's dead, Adeline's bloodline is the sole thing sustaining the goddess. Between her search for her mother's killer and the gang's succession crisis, Adeline becomes quickly entangled with the girl's dangerous world, and even more so with the charismatic Tian. But no home lasts long around here. Ambitious and paranoid neighbor gangs hunt at the edges of butterfly territory, and bodies are turning up in the red light district, suffused with a strange new magic. Adeline may have found her place for once, but with the streets changing by the day, it may take everything she is to keep it. Oh, please don't let me down. Please don't let me down, because this sounds so delicious. And it's coming out the 21st. Then we have another, I assume is another re-release with a different publisher, and it's another translated work, and it's The Lucky Ride by Yasushi Kitagawa, and it's translated by Takami Nieda. Combining the whimsy and possibility of the Midnight Library with the mystery and revelatory power of The Secret, A heartwarming and inspiring novel about a man on a magical ride who is unexpectedly offered a chance at happiness. Also, loving the colors of this cover. After losing multiple contracts, Shuichi must make restitution to his company. Faced with this large, unanticipated debt, the trip to Paris he and his wife have been planning for a year must be canceled. I know how that goes, bud. Traveling to Europe was more than a vacation. It offered the hope of reaching their teenage daughter, who has stopped going to school and will not leave her room. Feeling despondent and directionless, Shuichi believes he's the unluckiest person in Japan. Then a strange taxi mysteriously appears at his door. The driver promises to take Shuichi not to a destination he needs, but to where his next opportunity will be. With nothing to lose, he settles into the back seat and embarks on a series of magical rides that will teach him surprising life lessons, including how luck is not inherent. It's an investment built over time and even over generations. A compassionate and uplifting fable, The Lucky Ride will make you reconsider what's important, how to be present in your life, and empower you to create happiness, not just for yourself, but for those to come. And honestly, I really do need that at this point in my life. I need something that will make me reconsider what's important and like how to be more present and empower me to create happiness, because where I'm at, it's lacking. All of that is lacking. Hello, Editing Amber here. I have fully edited this video and I am shocked and appalled. I'm shocked and appalled to report that I have forgotten to include one of my most anticipated reads of the whole year, one of my most anticipated releases of the year from one of my favorite romance authors. So quickly, I just want to mention that on October 21st, another October 21st, we will be getting Good Spirits by B.K. Barrison, who we all know I absolutely adore. I absolutely adore, the author of the Love Like Farm series, the author of, I keep wanting to say Now Back to You, that's the second one. What's that book called? First Time Caller, which I read a couple months ago. Anyway, this one is a holiday romance. It is a paranormal holiday romance. It says B.K. Barrison is back with a whimsical new holiday romance, this time with a magical twist that will have everyone falling in love with the ghost of Christmas past. He's the ghost of Christmas past. She's not exactly Scrooge. Ghost of Christmas past Nolan Callahan intends to spend this holiday haunting like every other. Get in, get out. Return to his otherwise aimless existence as a ghost awaiting the afterlife. But when he's faced with Harriet York, the sweetest assignment he's ever had, he suddenly finds himself wishing for a future. Harriet York has no idea why she's being haunted. She's a good person, or at least she tries to be. A people pleaser to her core, she always does what's expected of her, but as she and Nolan begin to examine her past, they discover there are threads that bind them together and realize there might be more to moving on than expected. With the deadline of Christmas Eve fast approaching, will they find the key to their futures in each other's pasts, or will they stay firmly in the present, indulging in their unexpected, spirited connection? But with magic, mayhem, and cozy holiday charm, this swoony romance is B.K. Barrison's best yet. Remains to be seen. But this is so exciting. I am already starting my holiday romance TBR. I don't read a lot of paranormal romance. I mentioned that before, but B.K. Barrison can do no wrong in my eyes. So I fully anticipate that I'm going to be obsessed. I don't know how they're going to work out in the end, but I've seen a Lifetime, it's a Lifetime or Hallmark Christmas movie with a similar premise. So I just wanted to include that. Let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. So truthfully, for November and December, I don't really have any books written down or that I'm anticipating, solely because I have no idea what's coming out at the end of the year. When I made this list, it was still like the beginning of the year. I still didn't really know what was coming out at the end of the year. So I have just a couple final things to talk about. The first one is another like gothic horror that the cover kind of really got me, and it seems sort of like environmental a little bit. I could be wrong. And it's I'll Make a Spectacle of You by Beatrice Winifred Eicher that comes out on November 18th. Whose birthday is that? Is that Candace's birthday? It's someone's birthday. This heart-pounding Southern Gothic horror debut from Beatrice Winifred Eicher takes readers to Brooksbury University, the boldest and most storied HBCU in the nation. I forgot that element. Interesting. But as one student is about to find out, a long history comes with a legacy of secrets. Zora Robinson is an ambitious grad student in her dream program, Appalachian Studies, at Brooksbury University. When her thesis advisor hands her a strange diary and suggests she research the local folklore about a beast roaming the woods surrounding campus, Zora finds a community uneager to talk to an outsider. I'm in. As she delves into the history of the beast, she uncovers a rumored secret society called the Keepers that has tenuous ties to the beast and Brooksbury itself. Zora soon finds herself plagued by visions of the past, and her grip on reality starts to slip as she struggles to uncover what is real and what is folklore. But when a student goes missing, Zora starts to wonder if the Keepers ever really disbanded. There's something in the woods, and it has its eyes on Zora. Southern Gothic, Appalachia, secret society. Give it to me right now. Give it to me right now. Give it to me, I'm worth it. Okie dokie. And the other November release is quite literally my most anticipated book on this list. And truthfully, for the remainder of the year, it's Eternal Ruin by Tigis Germa, which is the sequel to my number one, tied for first, favorite book of the year, Immortal Dark. Honestly, I'm glad I read Immortal Dark this year, which means I haven't had to wait as long as other people for the sequel. But when this book comes out, I'm going to be insufferable. Prepare to be sick of me. I really can't tell you what the sequel's about. Oh. Pause. I think this was... Okay, hold on. Goodreads has 2 different dates up here. So, the first it has September 11th, which I don't think is correct. But at the top it has November 4th. So, one of those dates is when it's coming out. I don't think it's September. Let me look at Tigis' Instagram really quick. November 4th. Okay. I was right. Anyway. So, Immortal Dark is an impeccable black vampire dark academia that has consumed me mind, body, and soul. It follows Kitten Adanya, who is like the sole heir of this house at Uxley University, which is like this university. There are families that are kind of like, is it patrons, I guess, sort of, to vampires. There are vampires, that's what it is. There are vampires that serve these families that like are basically members of the house Stark. Anyway, she inherits the house, but it is already preoccupied by her family's vampire, Susenio Sagad, and he's like, I'm not leaving, girly pop. And she's like, we're gonna have to fight. We're gonna have to fight about it. Also, Keaton is looking for her sister. She comes to this school essentially because she believes she has been taken by somebody at one of the vampires that is at Uxley, and it's bloody, it is violent, it is so important to me, and I love that our main character is allowed to be violent. She's allowed to be filled with rage and vengeance and be a little bit unhinged and just My favorite thing is that this is a dark academia following Black characters where the main conflict, the main problem is not racism. Bless the Lord, glory, hallelujah. This is the sequel, and I'm buzzing. The hive is buzzing. Okay, so oh no, I lied. There is one more November release that I have listed here, and it's My Name Isn't Paul by Drew Huff. And this book also comes out on November 18th. I think this is like kind of like a sci-fi horror, perhaps. Could be making that up. He pretended to be human for 7 years until he couldn't. He's a traveling salesman named Paul Cataneo, except he isn't. He's a mirror person, a hyper-empathetic eldritch, I always feel like I say that wrong, abomination. He found the human Paul Cataneo's mangled corpse 7 years ago and decided to mimic it. It's just what mirror people do. Mimic, absorb, control. But breeding season for mirror people comes around every 7 years, inducing a sociopathic state. And Paul's time is up. Unable to avoid the reality of what he truly is, Paul has a mental breakdown. Honestly, mood. Goes on a cross-country road trip. Honestly, mood. And runs afoul of something far, far more inhuman and dangerous than himself. A cosmic horror tale like nothing you've ever read before. I don't remember when I became aware of this book. It was relatively recently. But I feel like me and Paul would get along. Maybe I am a mirror people. Hello. Again, I'm back. Still shocked. Still appalled. How did I forget to mention that on November 4th, we are also getting the conclusion to one of my favorite fantasy series, period. We are getting Witchlight, which is the conclusion of the Witchlands series by Susan Dennard, which I have been ranting and raving about for at least 10 years on this channel, ever since the first time I read Truth Witch back in like maybe 2016, I think, probably. I will have to do an entire reread of the series because when I tried to read Witch Shadow without catching up, didn't work. So I can't really tell you what this book is about because we're like, what, 5-6 books into a series. But I just wanted to mention because it is one of my most anticipated releases of the whole year, of the last maybe like 2 years, whenever it was officially announced. But yeah, okay, bye. The last book I have listed comes out on December 2nd. And first of all, this book is stunning. It's stunning, babes. Also relatively new to my radar, but I read this. First of all, I saw a picture of it, the cover on booktube, and I was like, no, I don't care what it's about. I have to own it. I really don't care what it's about. It will be mine. And then I read the synopsis and I was like, yeah, it's gonna be mine. It's Dawn of the Firebird by Sarah Mughal Rana. For fans of the Poppy War, She Who Became the Sun, which I have and hopefully will read in the near future, and The Will of the Many, a breathtaking fantasy novel about the daughter of an overthrown emperor from an exciting new voice. Camila Zarzad's life has been built on a foundation of violence and vengeance. Love that for her. Maybe not, I don't know. Every home she's known has been destroyed by war. Don't love that for her. As the daughter of an emperor's clan, she spent her childhood training to maintain his throne. But when her clansmen are assassinated by another rival empire, plans change. With her heavenly magic of Nur, Camila is a weapon even enemies would wield, especially those in the magical scholarly city of Zaskar. There we go. Of Zaskar. Hiding her identity, Camila joins the enemy army. I I don't know why I stopped being able to read. Camila joins the enemy's army school full of jinn, magic, and martial arts. Into it. Risking it all to topple her adversaries. Yeah. Avenge her clan and reclaim her throne. I think I was also drawn to this because there are elements to this that are very similar to the fantasy that I've been working on for a century and a half. Would used to be my main project, but I kind of like sort of fell out of love with that, and that's why I've been focused on romance lately. Anywhoozle. Avenge her clan and reclaim her throne. To survive, she studies under cutthroat mystic monks and battles in a series of contests to outmaneuver her fellow soldiers. She must win at all costs, even if it means embracing the darkness lurking inside her. But the more she excels, the more she is faced with history that contradicts her land. Know what? Skipped a whole line. History that contradicts her father's teaching. With a war brewing among the kingdoms and a new twisted magic overtaking the land, Camila is torn between two impossibilities, I think that's supposed to say. Vengeance or salvation. Yeah. I want it. I want it right now. Unfortunately, I have to wait until December. That's all I have. First of all, please let me know other books that I might be interested in that are coming out in November and December that I should keep an eye out for. That's it. That's a lot. I hate the fact that I have to go edit this now. But if you sat through this, you deserve a sweet little consensual forehead kiss. So, mwah. Anyway, thank you for watching this. If you did, if you did not, I completely understand. Let me know your most anticipated releases for the rest of 2025. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like me, feel free to subscribe. All my places are down below so you can follow me, and I'll follow you back. And I'll see you soon. Bye.